Hello and welcome to the Capital Point. I am Terry Anchibet and thank you so much for making time to join us. And today I'm speaking with the CEO and founder of RFH Healthcare, Dr. Maxwel Okoth, who started off his business at the tender age of 25. And he'll be giving us his entrepreneurial journey and just inspire us as we go along. Thank you so much for making time. Let's start at the beginning. What are some of the interesting things you remember about your childhood?
There's a day we sneaked from home and went to the lake. I grew up by the lakeside, so I think we sneaked from home to go to the lake, and we were trying to swim in the lake. And if you know the stories around Lake Victoria, there are histories of hippopotamus and crocodiles going away with people. So when we went back home, we thought we were very smart. And so my mother asked me, "Where were you?" Then we lied.
Where did you say you were?
We went to play at the neighbors, but you know, when you swim in the lake, you come back when you say you've pararad. I don't know how you call that in English.
In English.
Yes. So we were really whipped, thoroughly whipped. So the next time we were like, it's too much fun. We can't miss this. So we went back again. But this time, we thought we were smarter, and we bought the small Vaseline. So after swimming in the lake, then we came back and applied the Vaseline jelly, and we were shining. So we were asked, "Where have you been?" We were just playing. So my mother asked the house help, "Have they showered?" "Not yet." "And where are you guys all?" "You went back again." So I was whipped thoroughly. Since that day, I've never gone to the lake again. And that's how I don't know how to swim to date.
No,
so,
you don't know how to swim?
Why would I know how to swim after
Oh
that?
my God.
Yes, so that's one incident I really remember. Yes.
So where did you grow up? I know you've said by the lake, so...
I grew up in Homa Bay town, primary, high school. Then when I just finished high school...
Where did you go to high school?
I went to Maseno School.
But you have to say that.
But it's the only school, you know. Yes, so yeah, I went to Maseno School. Then at that time, my mother got a transfer from Homa Bay to Kisii. I didn't quite live in Kisii for long because that time I was coming to Nairobi. That was the first time I came to the city. After my Form 4, I joined Strathmore for my CPAs. So Kisii was 2 days, 4 days in a year. So it's not a town I can't really say I lived in. Yes, so basically my childhood is around Homa Bay town, yes. Okay. Yeah.
So after Maseno, you were called to the University of Nairobi to study medicine.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that journey. Was it something you always wanted to do, medicine?
Okay, what happened, I always wanted to be in business. So I was actually one of the best business accounting students at that time during my KCSE. So I had chosen BCom as my first choice. So when the results came and then my dad asked me, "What had you chosen?" I told them BCom. I'm like, "Are you serious? You cannot do BCom with an A plane." Typical Kenyan mentality, you know. So, but then there was a bit of sense in what he was saying because he was like, how many people graduate with BCom in a year? And then we did the maths, and then like how many people graduate with medicine? Then he told me, medicine, at least you're guaranteed employment. BCom, you're not guaranteed. It's the probability of whatever you want to be, but you can always go back to the other side after doing medicine. So that's how I went and changed my choice from BCom to medicine. Yes, but then I still followed on that journey. So before, we used to be at home for 2 years before joining university. So that's when I went to Strathmore to do my accounting. Yes, so I did CPAs.
Until?
I did sales section 3. Yes,
wow.
Then I went to med school. Then now from there, it was hard for me to finish. So yes, yeah. So that was med school.
How was med school like for you, given that you had chosen BCom as your first choice?
It was okay. I mean,
because you were a smart A student, so it was easy.
It wasn't easy, to be honest with you. It was not easy. I remember first year, there's biochemistry. There are people who would get negative marks. You find results come out, most people at 8%, 4%, 3%, -4, -10. Because for every wrong answer, it's a negative. So if you guess, you get a negative for every wrong answer. So you can actually have more wrong answers than the right ones, then you get a negative mark. Yeah, so it wasn't easy. But I chose to have a balanced life and not that of being a bookworm. So I can say, a very well balanced campus lifestyle that I managed. I did a bit of side hustles in campus as well.
What kind of side hustles?
I would go to River Road, get flash discs. That's the time flash discs and memory cards had just come. So I would go to River Road, buy flash disc, memory cards, and come to sell to people. It was fun. Somebody tells you, I want HP and I want Sony. But you see, knowing where these things come from, they were all the same because they were all in a carton. These people who import them from China would put them in a carton, and then now the casing is what was the difference. Yes, then from there I started an online shop. I can say we were the first online shop in this country.
What
That
were you
time
selling?
it was mkoba.co.ke. So it was a platform that I brought various. I had things which I was selling on my own. Then I had different people who also bring. So we had youths who were making shoes, rubber shoes, which were branded with nice art. There's a guy who was making these jeans bags with names that would be customized. There's a guy who would make very nice T-shirts. We'd customize it with your pictures and stuff. Then me, I was more of the electronic side, so the memory cards, the flash disks. Then we had colognes as well. It was a wide range of products. So yes, I started that. It picked very well. It got a bit of media attention at that time. I think it's something, had I continued with, would probably be the Jumias of today. Then I think when I was now going to my 4th year, it became very hard to balance the online shop and school. So I had to make a decision, and that's how I closed it down. Yes. So that was it. And then I went for my 5th year, finished, graduated. Then I went for my internship.
Where did you do your internship?
I did it at Kiambu District Hospital.
How was that like?
It was nice. I mean, that's the same time I started my clinic. Exactly, just when I was an intern.
Wow.
Yes. So during internship, I would do locums. In medicine, we call them locums. It's like part-time job.
Yeah.
So I would do locums at Nairobi Women's. Then I would still go back again to Kiambu. There are days I would cross the city all the way to Rongai. And then you need to be in Kiambu by 8 a.m. for your ward rounds and present your patients. So I really pushed myself because I was looking for capital as well. And then my exposure at Nairobi Women's really opened my eyes because I saw that, like the one in Hurlingham, I realized it was a 3-bedroom house. So from there, I was like, if somebody has done this, then I can definitely be able to push it. So that's when I started.
Is that when you started thinking I could turn my career into a business?
Because it was actually owned by a doctor as well. Yeah, so that's when I started buying equipment one by one, the laboratory equipment, microscope, centrifuge, those things. So I could buy them and keep them in my house. And then that's 11 September 2011, to be precise. Then I opened the doors as Roy Family Medical Center, as a clinic.
At the age of 25?
25, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were your peers telling you around that time? Because, for somebody so young, you had tried your hand in entrepreneurship before, through Koba, through your side hustles in college as well. But what were your peers telling you at that point?
Felt sorry for me, to be honest, because it was not easy. I literally used to work to sustain the clinic because I would actually get my salary to pay the staff who were at the clinic. So at that time I was very stretched and very strained. I remember one of my friends asking me, Sasa wewe in Kiswahili, why are you doing all this? Why can't you just concentrate, be a doctor, earn your salary, live a decent life? I told him, it's okay, let me try. If it fails, at least I know I tried and it didn't work. So yes, then the worst came when I was actually now posted as a medical officer to Nyeri. So you are all the way in Nyeri, running a business in Nairobi. That was, I remember the caretaker used to call me every month for my rent, and I was always late, and the rent was 9,000 shillings, because I had committed a bit of my pay slip from, I have actually taken loan from Shylocks. I remember there's a time I was given 300,000. By the time I was finishing to pay this loan, I'd paid a 1.8 million. Yes. And when I was clearing it off, I still had to pay 300,000.
Oh
Yes. So, but yeah, looking
Oh,
back,
wow.
it was. So those are some of the things life teaches you. Yes.
When would you say you had your first break
My first break.
as an entrepreneur?
The first break came when I finally sat in that clinic completely and realized that if you want something done, then sometimes it's better to do it yourself. So when I pushed my way up and came back to Nairobi, and then now there's a doctor strike which really prolonged for a very long time. So that's the time I sat there and I realized actually this business can sustain itself. So that's when now we started changing things around. I changed the staff. There's an intern who was my intern in area. I brought him on board. And so not with the very good pay, but I gave him the hope and promise for a better future. And he's somebody who was very sensible to work on that. So that's where now things started for me falling in place and falling in place. Because I was so much in debt. I was really, really in debt. I was paying medical equipment. I used to pay about 232 a month. There was a payroll. There's supplies, and that time the clinic is doing about 300 or 400,000 in a month. So you always have a deficit of about yes. So sometimes your checks would bounce. Yeah. So
How did you manage to turn that around?
how we managed to turn that around was now me being there, and then now bringing now a team that when I'm not there, they are also in the same page. They shared in the same dream and vision that I had. And so now the numbers started growing. We sealed some of these leakages because actually they would make the sales, but they were going into people's pockets. So now we started sealing some of these things. Then we got an HIF accreditation at that time. Then there was a civil servants scheme which came in on board. And then things started looking up. So after that, I also realized the place we were was a bit constraining. We had a lot of equipment, but nobody would believe that we have those equipment in such a building. It was a very small house in a first floor. The stairs were narrow. The place had a drainage issue on at the door. You know, sewage was just running all over. So I started looking for a different place, and that's when we moved to where the current mother hospital is, as a 10-bed maternity hospital. And ever since from that day, I think things have been, yes.
So from a 10-bed maternity hospital, what year was that?
That is 2014.
2014.
Yes.
Where are you today? Just paint us a picture of how RFH Healthcare is today and how it has grown.
So from a 10-bed maternity hospital, it grew to 50 bed. We introduced dialysis, we got a CT scan, we got the ambulance. Then came the 100-day doctor strike, which was in Kenya. I think everybody knows about that. We got a lot of referrals from Tala. So that informed us going to Tala in Machakos County because we're getting a lot of referrals of mothers either in prolonged labor or such things. So it gave us an idea that there's a need in that side. And so we opened a 10-bed maternity hospital as well in Tala. Then from there, an opportunity came. There's a space inside Nyayo Estate in Bakassi. At that time, it's one of the biggest gated communities in Eastern Central Africa, 4,897 households. So we opened an outpatient center. And that time, we also broke ground for now the main hospital. Because I was trying to fundraise, say that through banks and stuff, and I realized without brick and mortar security, your books would be nice and nobody would lend you money. So we broke ground for the main hospital. So we started construction at that time as well. Then when we finished in 2019, January, so we started construction in 2017, January. We finished in 2019, January. We opened our doors in May 2019. That is a 100-bed RFH specialist hospital, 4-bed ICU, 64-slice CT scan. We have 5 dialysis units. Optical, dental, pharmacy, 3 theaters. Yes,
Wow,
it's a full level 5 hospital. And then after that, we also opened the Jacaranda Medical Center, which is in next to Kamiti Prison. Yes, so Kawa West. Yes, so currently we have 5 outlets. We hope to grow more with time. Of course, rapid expansion can also be an issue, so we always wait until one branch is breaking even and then you go to the next place. So the other places we have also earmarked to go into.
What would you say are some of your biggest lessons, growing from basically zero to where you are today?
Biggest lessons, patience pays. I've also learned the hard way. Sometimes in business you need to do planning and forecasting. As entrepreneurs, you become a bit ambitious, and if you become over-ambitious, that could be actually be the easiest way to bring you down. Those are lessons I've learned the hard way. So you really need to have a very good forecast on where you're going and have a very well-planned expansion plan in whatever thing you want to do. Because as entrepreneurs say, if I get money, I want to do this. If I get money, I want to do this. But business, to a certain extent, it's not about just opening. It's more about how to run it. Running it is actually the bigger. Opening is not an issue. We would probably open 100 branches today, but can we sustain them? That's a question, yes. So I've learned to be a bit patient in my ambition as well. Take it slowly. Have people who can direct you and show you the way. Have mentors around you. Board of advisors, if you can, board of directors to some extent. What else have I learned? There's no shortcut in life. You always have to do things the right way. The shortcuts always come back to bite you, and they bite you really hard, yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
What would you have done different?
What would I have done different? From the way we've done, I think I've been lucky. God has blessed me. Seeing where I've come from and where I am, I don't think there's another way it would have been done. I think it has actually surpassed my expectations.
Oh, wow. What would you advise, somebody who is probably in your space, is around the same age you were when you started off, and they're just in between that place and they're trying to balance, should I stay at my job, but I'm so passionate about this new venture that I have in mind? What one key piece of advice would you give them?
If you have a conviction that you really need something, go for it. I always say go for it, but do what you enjoy doing. So that let the motivation not be, I have seen friends who come and say, Maxwel opened and is doing well, and so we want to open. That's a wrong reason to open anything. Open something because you have a passion for it. So that even when the financial part is not good, there's something to keep you moving, and you will still enjoy doing it. So for us, it was not money driven at any point. It was, I had a passion and I like to see something grow. And so for me, it's more of the growth. I have anything we make is always taken back into that business. Because for me, I want to see it grow and become bigger and help as many people as possible. Our costing model is one of the cheapest in terms of the services we offer across. And so it's more of the impact it does than anything else. I would say we are more of a social investment company than anything else. And with that, it just grows itself, as opposed to somebody who opens because people go into business for wrong reasons. Money comes. There are businesses that somebody would be surprised to know they've been there for 50 years, and you'll be surprised probably they've never made a profit, but they're still running. So your motive should not be finances. Other than that, I always tell people sustainable businesses are businesses that have an impact on society. Those are the businesses that actually run for longer, and actually people, because you need to have that humanity perspective to everything you do. Yes, so anybody who's out there and wants to do something, if your passion is in it, please go for it. You'd rather say you did it and you failed, as opposed to keep saying, I wish I did. I remember the ideas I had, and later on you see them in the streets and they're doing very well, and you're like, I wish I did. I would have tried and failed, but I just didn't try, and somebody came and ran with it. Yes.
So as we wind up, perhaps you can just tell us what's the future of Dr. Maxwel? What's the future of RFH Healthcare? What can we expect?
What's the future of RFH Healthcare? First, I think COVID has come in. It's going to change how business are going to be done. And for me, there's a project I did when I was doing my senior executive program at Harvard. And it was, I think COVID has fast-tracked it. We are changing how healthcare is going to be done. And convenience and the world being, people want things so fast. So in the next few days, we are launching our mobile application. And it will be an application that has a telemedicine in it, deliveries. And so we want to guarantee you, one of the pain points that patients have is waiting time. You go to a hospital in Nairobi today, you'll probably spend 6 hours, 7 hours. In this day and time, time is everything. And so if somebody takes 6 hours of your time, you have lost a lot. And so we want to save Kenyans that hassle. We guarantee you that you will be in a hospital for probably 15 minutes or 30 maximum, and probably either to get your samples or to get examined. Then the rest can always be done remotely. So that is one of the things that we are about to launch, and so I will not reveal much about it. The other thing is there are centers in Nairobi that we are looking into going into. We also want to bridge the gap between, because the insurance companies are like a broker between the healthcare provider and the patient. So we are looking at how can we, you know, every time there's a broker, there's a cost aspect on it. So how can we get this off so that we become a direct link with the patient? I know there's a rule that bars the HMOs, but we're going to get managed schemes that is being run by the hospital itself. So that's the other thing we are going into, and also just to enhance our footprint across. Yes.
Are you looking at outside Nairobi, outside Kenya?
Outside Nairobi, yes. There are towns we have in mind, but first we need to have as much widespread footprint in Nairobi as much as possible. And then after that, go outside Nairobi. There are low-hanging fruits in different towns that we have looked at, which have problems of access. There are areas which patients, if they want to access dialysis, for example, they have to travel 50, 60 kilometers to get to the nearest dialysis center. There are countries we are also in conversation with. Some of my classmates keep telling me, come to this country. And because I've realized the problems in Africa are across board. From North Africa to South Africa, they're the same issues. Yeah, but again, some of these things, they require financing. Healthcare is a very capital-intensive industry. And so you'd wish to do them as soon as possible, but sometimes you have to pace at your own pace, so yes.
Well, thank you very much, Max, for talking to us and for inspiring us with your journey. I'm always inspired by entrepreneurial stories, especially because we come from a society where many young people have faced so many problems. And it's just sometimes that one person that says something that strikes the right chord. So thank you so much for making time to be with us. So I've been speaking with Dr. Maxwel Okoth. He's the CEO and founder of RFH Healthcare.